I ran an ultramarathon 3 months ago, 62 kilometers through the mountains, and it's safe to say it was one of the most difficult things I have physically done to date. But what surprised me wasn't just the physical challenge, it was actually the parallels that can be drawn to business. The mental frameworks, the discipline, and the way that you handle pain and setbacks. It's literally all the same. So today I want to share a bit more about what training for and actually doing an ultramarathon taught me about business and entrepreneurship. It's just honest reflections that changed how I think about work. When I started training, I thought I needed to go hard in every single session, but that is not how an ultramarathon works. You literally cannot sprint for 62 kilometers. So that brings us on to lesson 1, that consistency beats intensity. You have to pace yourself, you have to show up every day, and you have to put in the boring work. Business is the exact same because you don't always win in bursts. You win in boring consistency, showing up, doing the work, even when it's not exciting. Because the thing is, daily discipline definitely does compound. The second lesson is that you cannot negotiate with difficulty. When you're 40 kilometers into an ultramarathon, and especially this one because there was 1500 meters of elevation, so you're going through the mountains. But when I hit kilometer 40, you really do hit a wall. Everything hurts, your brain is all over the place, your feet hurt, your shoulders hurt, and you just want it to end. But the thing is, the finish line doesn't move closer just because you're tired or just because you're frustrated. And without sounding overly motivational or anything like that, the pain is non-optional. You have 2 choices. It's as simple as this. You either keep going or you quit. And business is the exact same because problems do not go away if you're frustrated. Challenges don't ease up because you're stressed, and avoiding the problems literally will just make it worse. So you either face it or you avoid it. So maybe an example in a business context could be avoiding that conversation maybe with a team member or with a client or a customer that you've been avoiding it for quite some time. You don't want to have that conversation, but not having the conversation doesn't really change that you have to have the conversation. Okay, so now we're on to lesson number 3, that preparation beats motivation. Motivation will get you to the starting line of a race, starting line of a marathon, an ultramarathon, whatever that may be. But motivation alone does not get you to kilometer 62 when all you want to do is just stop. What gets you through is the preparation, so the months long of training, the pain of that, the habits that you develop, and the plan that you have set out for yourself. And again, business is the exact same. Motivation will fade over time, but the thing is, systems don't. Long-term planning, disciplined execution, and I guess trusting the process is what will get you through those hard days. So now we're on to lesson number 4, is that you need a strong why. I think this is kind of thrown around a lot in both like a business and I suppose a sporting context as well about having a why. I actually read Start With Why by Simon Sinek a good while back, a good few years back, but very good book. So if you haven't read it, I would strongly recommend. But I think this is incredibly strong or important to have for both business and something like an ultramarathon or a marathon or even a half marathon, whatever your thing is that you're doing. Because the thing is, if you are going through the tough days in terms of business or sport or a race or whatever that may be, if you don't understand why you're doing that, if you don't have that why, it's a bit harder to get through. So if you don't have a strong reason for what you're building, you're going to collapse when it gets hard. So without that why in both, I suppose, first of all, in a business context, it means that you're just like chasing status and money. And in a sporting context, if you don't really have a why, you're probably just chasing something because of an ego. And that simply won't sustain you. The 5th lesson I learned while training for this ultramarathon and actually doing the race as well is the concept of good pain versus bad pain. So in ultra running, there's good pain and there's bad pain. Good pain is discomfort, fatigue, or else just pushing your limits. Bad pain is getting an injury, really destroying yourself and really making some long-term damage to your body. And business has the exact same distinction. There's productive discomfort, like learning a new skill, or again, having a conversation that you don't want to have, but it's going to make a better situation. And then there's also bad pain as well, such as hustle culture and, burning yourself out. And you need to know the difference. Good pain makes you stronger, bad pain obviously doesn't. Now we're on to lesson number 6, that you are not entitled to results. The thing is with the ultramarathon training is I trained for months, put in the work, did all the training that I could have done, but that still did not mean that I was entitled to finish that race. And funnily enough, I saw a lot of people pull out. And business is the exact same because you do not deserve success just because you want it. You don't deserve clients or customers because you started a business, and you have to earn every single result through execution. Now the last and final lesson, lesson number 7, is that the finish line does not fix you. I honestly thought crossing the finish line would feel transformative. It would be, I don't know, a feeling of ecstasy. You'd be delighted, you'd be so on top of the moon, but it just wasn't at all. I still woke up the next day as the same person, probably a bit sore than I'd usually be, but I still had the same life, I still had the same challenges. The thing is about the finish line is the growth wasn't getting to the finish line. The growth was actually in all of the training, actually the process, the whole entire process of entering, training, finishing the ultramarathon. And the real growth, I suppose, from a personal standpoint, comes from like the person you become, the habits you develop, the mindset that you mold for yourself while going through this process. And just like in an ultramarathon with business, when you hit a revenue goal or when you hit some kind of goal, that doesn't really change you internally. And as with ultramarathons, like in business, if you hit a revenue goal or you close a new deal, that still doesn't solve your internal challenges. The thing is, growth is ongoing and the work never stops, because when you hit a certain goal, you now need to hit the next goal, or you now need to fix the next problem. So I think that pretty much wraps up the lessons. And if you're building something hard, these principles really do apply. To be honest with you, I was very surprised to see the parallels between an ultramarathon or doing some kind of hard physical challenge and, you know, what things are like in business and what it really takes to truly, you know, reach the goals, reach the targets that you want to hit in business. So the thing is, show up, do the work, don't negotiate with difficulty, build systems, know your why, and remember that the finish line does not fix you, but the process does. If you like this style of content, let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.